Hey there, Brad Castor from GridOptionTradingStrategies.com. So one of the things I love doing with this channel is to drill down on individual real-world trades because while textbook examples are convenient and theory is a good first step, it's only when you see how things play out in the real world that the deepest learning takes place. Said another way, most trades either have something to teach us or something to reinforce in us. So today I want to look at a fun option selling campaign on Pepsi that we formally repaired and exited last month for what I would characterize as moderate profits. They weren't terrific returns in the least, but even modest gains are better than a big fat loss. And that's a trade-off I'll take any day. But it was fun because we decided to cheat Mr. Market at one point. And yes, we did get caught, but it still worked out to our advantage. Now this won't be a long video, but I am breaking it up into 4 parts. In part 1, I'll give you a quick rundown of the campaign. This was a longer running campaign and there were a few moving parts, but it's not essential that we go through everything leg by leg. But if you do want to discuss any of the individual roles or adjustments, I'd be happy to do so in the comments. In part 2, we're going to zoom in on the part of the trade where we started cheating. In part 3, I'll show you what happened when we finally got caught cheating and how it still worked out to our advantage. And part 4 is the payoff. And that's not so much whether the decision to cheat by selling the covered call at the lower strike was the right move or not. Although even in hindsight, I still believe that it was a good move. It's that we were able to run different scenarios in advance and have a pretty good idea what the end results would be. But before we get into all that, if you're an option seller of any kind, you might want to check out the links I've put in the description. I've been trading options myself, mostly selling them, for about 25 years now, and I think you'll like some of the free resources I've put together. Those include the complete guide to selling puts, where I cover the entire process from trade selection and setup to trade management and repair. I've also put together a number of ebooks, special reports, and strategy guides, including the ever-popular 10 Commandments of Option Trading for Income and my 4 Rules of Option Trading for a Living. I also send out the spam-free Daily Option Tips and Insights newsletter where I share my insights from real-world trading and show you what works and where some of the hidden pitfalls are. You can sign up for that directly or simply download a report or ebook and you'll get it automatically. And since 2012, I also run a private option trading membership site, the Leveraged Investing Club. But I'm a terrible marketer because I mostly keep the doors to the club closed, and I only reopen the doors to readers of the Daily Tips newsletter, as in once, maybe twice a year. The other 360 or so days of the year, I'm just sharing real-world practical insights. Okay, so let's jump in here and see if cheaters ever win. Spoiler alert, we did. So here's the final trade performance table. Now don't get intimidated, confused, or irritated by this spreadsheet. The campaign definitely had a few moving parts, but it's not critical that you understand all the specific ins and outs. We're only focusing on the cheating angle today. But here's the quick rundown. The trade began as a wide bull put spread. Basically a $155 naked put that we set up with a far out of the money offsetting long put to preserve capital. I separated the long put legs of the trade on the spreadsheet because those we bought on a monthly basis, while sometimes the short put was rolled out longer than 1 month at a time. Over time, as the trade went against us, we successfully worked the short put strike down to $145 and always for net credits. We eventually allowed assignment at the 145 strike and continued managing and repairing the trade as a covered call, primarily because we could also begin collecting the $1.42 per share quarterly dividend. There was also an opportunistic and separate $135 short put that we were in and out of pretty quickly in August that brought in additional premium. So that's the rundown. But I want to zoom in on one specific aspect of the campaign. Specifically, I want to talk about how we cheated. Part 2, cheating. So we allowed our $145 short put to be assigned near the end of April and sold or wrote a covered call at that strike for the June cycle. But after that, first for the July expiration cycle and then later the October cycle when we kicked the covered call out 3 months, we sold our covered calls at the lower $140 strike price. That's how we cheated. By selling the covered call at the lower strike, we brought in considerably more premium than if we'd relegated ourselves to the strike price at which we were assigned the shares. And as long as Mr. Market didn't spike the stock well above that $140 level, we would get away with it. Even if Pepsi did rebound and trade back above $140, we would still have shots at a couple of net positive outcomes. First, we might still be able to work the strike price higher and back to $145. but only if we could also generate at least a small net credit. And second, even if we couldn't get back to the 145 strike price, we could probably continue rolling the in-the-money 140 covered call straight out for ongoing net credits. Of course, we would need to run the numbers and evaluate whether the annualized rate on that new net premium was attractive enough to justify keeping the trade going. Part 3, the outcome. So how did it all work out? We were finally caught cheating and forced out at the $140 share price, or our covered call strike price. We basically dared Mr. Market to whipsaw us, and he did. Well, sort of. Unfortunately, neither one of our earlier rosy worst-case scenarios materialized. That's because Pepsi reported earnings a little ahead of the October expiration date, and the shares really spiked. At expiration, the stock closed at $153.71 per share, and that was way too far above our $140 covered call to make continuing the trade in any way practical. Whatever net premium we could collect at that point by continuing to roll would be accruing at very meager rates, as in money market type rates at best. Thanks, but I think I'll pass. Now this is important. We didn't actually give back anything that wasn't extra in the first place, meaning that the net premium we collected on our last roll, along with the final quarterly dividend payout, more than covered the $500 loss we incurred at the end from selling a stock we paid $145 per share for $140 per share. And don't forget, we got away with cheating on our first covered call, so mathematically that made the second covered call worth it even more. But it did kill our final annualized ROI because it added time to the trade, and what we ended up netting on that last roll was pretty meager. Part 4, it's not about cheating, it's about strategic thinking. The cool thing is that if you find yourself in a similar situation, you can run the numbers yourself and see what the worst case scenario is if you get caught cheating. In the Pepsi case, I knew in advance that we wouldn't actually be any worse off in terms of total dollars. We would actually be ahead moderately, and that we would still profitably be out of a trade that totally went against us. And that's exactly how it worked out. So while our final returns were a bit disappointing at 8.85% annualized, it never gets old making solid returns on a trade that totally went the wrong way. So here's my takeaway about what this lower performing repair campaign has to teach us. Even if you have a specific trade management and repair process that you use, inside the Leveraged Investing Club, ours is the customized and proprietary 4-stage trade repair formula. It never hurts to experiment with some fresh creative thinking. What would happen if I do this? That's an incredibly powerful question. And then simply run the possible scenarios. What's the best outcome if you make a specific move or adjustment? What do you think the most likely outcome is? And most importantly, what's the worst case outcome? And is that something you can live with? The great thing about option trading is that you can take all the guesswork out of the process and see in advance what the outcomes would be for any scenario you can envision. At that point, you're left with the most powerful tool of all, the ability to make an informed choice. With our Pepsi campaign, it wasn't so much about whether our decision to cheat by selling covered calls at the lower strike was correct or incorrect. It was about knowing in advance exactly what the result would be if X, Y, or Z happened, and then having the clarity to make an informed choice. Okay, let me know below if you've got questions or feedback, or if you want me to clarify anything we went over today. Or let me know if there are any specific option trading or stock market related topics you'd like me to cover. And if you enjoyed this and want more, be sure to check out the channel's other videos. I organize everything into playlists to make it easier to find the resources that are most useful to you. Also, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and sign up for the Daily Tips newsletter via the pinned comment below. These videos are more time-consuming to put together, of course, and that means I can cover more option trading topics, mostly option selling related, but sometimes leaps-based trades via the Daily Tips newsletter. Options are the ultimate high-yield income vehicle, and they can be structured in so many different ways to generate sustainable and safe high-yield income. And they can also give you what you need most in your dealings with Mr. Market, a form of actual control. You can sign up for the newsletter directly, or you can download any item or items from the Great Option Trading Strategies downloadable library page, and you'll also begin receiving the Daily Tips newsletter automatically. Heads we win, tails Mr. Market loses. That means you should be coming out ahead on virtually all of your trades. Okay, until next time.